My name is Michael Hagan, and today here at Carrollton Christian Fellowship, our daily Bible reading is from 2 Kings chapter 12 through chapter 14. And our daily devotional comes from the very beginning of 2 Kings chapter 12. And what we see here is we see that Jehoash has come to the throne. So he had been kept safe and had been hidden away since a young boy in the temple. And he had grown up in the temple and had been hidden there so that the line of David could continue. And so we see that what happens when an individual, when they grow up with godly counsel, when they grow up with those who are older and more mature in the Word, who are not only older in the Lord, but also more mature, that they have been walking out properly their calling that God has called them properly within their life. What is the response then of that young individual when they grow up? Their heart and desire then is to, because they have that godly instruction, is to go forward and have godly restoration in their life. That the Lord will restore them back to Himself, and then also things that possibly may not be quite clicking properly within their life, and that possibly as things go and mature and things within maybe even the church that the Lord needs to restore, that the Lord needs to bring revival to, they are then sold out and have a full desire to see that fully restored and fully brought back to the place and position that God desires that to be within the people's hearts, and also within their own hearts and with just everyone's hearts. And so everyone gets to click in on the same page. So we see that the purpose and the importance of that godly instruction, and then the purpose and point of that godly restoration in our life, and why it is that He desires that is for that proper relationship with Him. And then later on we see in verse 6 through 13, we see Jehoash's zealous preparations and how he zealously desires for things to be prepared for the Lord. And then when he comes back 23 years later and no restoration had happened, then he starts asking questions and he gets to the heart of the matter. And the heart of the matter was that certain individuals within, certain priests within the temple, they had been using the resources that had been coming in for those specific set ministries, but they had not sought to walk out and see the temple restored fully. Because of those before Jehoash, they had ruined and destroyed the temple. And so we see that Jehoash gets to the point and purpose of the matter, and then as soon as that is done and it's brought to light and things are done in proper management of what God's heart was, we see that the people then begin to give with a cheerful heart, and people then begin to give cheerfully and with a glad heart. And so that's the same thing in our own lives, is that when we can be encouraged that when we go forward and when we walk forward in what God's heart is, to see the entire church fully restored, not just certain parts of the church, not just certain parts of ministry, perhaps, but when the full purpose of what God desires within a community, within a body of Christ, when that is brought forth to the table properly with God's heart, that people give cheerfully and give with a glad heart. And there's not having to be people who go around and ask for special giving, ask for special things, and go around and take pledges and take drives and lay up thermometers in order to get people to give. But it's when God's heart is communicated properly for the full purpose of the body to go forward in what God has called that body to do, then people just give cheerfully. People give with a cheerful heart. So I hope this can be an encouragement to you to look forward and to seek and to hope for raising up those individuals within a godly counsel and with godly instruction. And then also when we see things in areas that need to be restored properly within the vision that God has for a body and a fellowship, that we hope and we come alongside the Lord in what He desires to do, and we restore it according to what God desires, and not just according to what we think may need certain specific care. So take care, have a blessed one, and we look forward to seeing you tomorrow.